Hey y'all, Michelle here with My Designs in the Chaos, where it's our goal to develop, encourage, and grow your crafting talent and confidence. And this month, school is back in session, crafting school that is. And today we're going to be creating this frame, but for less than $5. I absolutely love the industrial look. I love it so much, but I will tell you that that industrial look comes with a price tag sometimes. So when I found this set of frames online, I thought, you know what? I bet you I could make a dupe of that frame for way less, but have it still give off that same industrial feel. So that's what we're going to be creating, or recreating, I should say, today. So let's take a look at the supplies that we're going to need for this project, because I bet it's a little bit out of the box than what you think we'd be using. Okay, so let's talk through some of these supplies that we're going to need. We're going to use these shower curtain rings. And then we're going to be using these adhesive hooks. And then we're going to be needing some spray paint. I'm going with the flat look just because I want it to look a little more dull than shiny, but that's up to you. And then we're going to be using this frame. I also wanted my spray paint to match this black frame. And then I'm using a piece of vinyl because you guys know me, I can't leave a frame blank. So I'm actually going to put a little vinyl phrase across the bottom of the frame. And then I'm also going to be needing my weeding tools, so my dental pick and my scraper tool, all of those things are going to be available as well. I'm also going to need my cutting mat as well as my cutting machine. What we're going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spray paint these items. Now, this one I'm going to go ahead and set to the side because I don't need to do anything with it, but I'm going to spray paint these items first, and that way they can be totally dry by the time I'm ready to work with my frame and assemble them. So I'm going to go ahead and open them up. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to take one of them. So I'm going to need one ring, and then I'm going to need one hook. Now, when you're trying to figure out which hooks you want to make sure that your rings are small enough to fit through that hook, because we're going to be connecting them. And if it's not, it's going to look really weird if it's just sitting up here. So just make sure that it fits. If you get the Dollar Tree shower rings and you get the Dollar Tree hooks, they fit nicely together. So I ended up deciding I'm going to actually make a pair of these. And so that way they kind of coordinate together, and I'm going to do that for my vinyl sayings as well, so that the two vinyl sayings on the frames, they coordinate with each other. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to actually take two out there, and I'm going to spray paint two, and I'm going to spray paint two hooks and two rings. Okay, let's go ahead and head outside, and let's paint the two shower curtain rings and then the two hooks that we're going to need for the tops of the frames. Now, because I got the clear rings, it wasn't too bad just spraying them on one side, but I do encourage you to go ahead and just take some kind of a little stick and flip them over to make sure that you get both sides of the ring sprayed. It's going to make more of a difference if you have a solid color ring, but with the clear one, it was okay, but still, just make sure you get both sides. Once you have them spray painted, you're gonna wanna make sure you let them dry 100%. So we're gonna just set all this over to the side, let it totally dry, and we're gonna go ahead and work on the vinyl for our frames. Okay, so now that we have those additional elements, they're spray painted and they're drying, make sure you get both sides when you're spray painting. You can use something just like a little stick like this to make sure you flip over those rings. But now we're gonna go ahead and we're going to cut the vinyl to match on our frames. So that's what I'm gonna do now, is I'm gonna take my vinyl, I'm using adhesive vinyl. So remember, the side that is the color is gonna go face up. The part that says the backing on it is going to go face down, okay? So I'm just using a scrap piece because I'm just putting a little tiny design on there, and because I like to save and use my scraps all the time. So I'm gonna go ahead, head over to my cutting software, send my design to cut to my cutting machine once my adhesive vinyl is loaded into my machine, and then I'm gonna go ahead and bring it back to the desk. So I'll see you back over here where we weed out our design and apply it to the frames. design is fully cut, it's time for us to go ahead and weed our design, which just means we're going to remove all of the vinyl that we don't want attached onto our final frames. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to remove that vinyl off of the cutting mat. And then I'm going to also go ahead and I'm going to open up my frames. I'm going to open up the frames so that way I can go ahead and I can clean that glass and it can be drying while I'm weeding the project. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to open up these frames. Okay, and then now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to take a clean cloth and I'm going to take my rubbing alcohol. I'm going to put a little bit of this rubbing alcohol here on my clean cloth and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to rub it across the front of my frame, that glass part. And I'm doing that just so that that vinyl will stick really, really well. I'm going to get a little bit more here on my rag. I'm going to move it here across the top. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put those over to the side so that they can dry while I'm weeding my project. Now, here's my project. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start by trimming off this edge. Now, I also ended up putting a weeding box around this design, but I'm still going to go ahead and trim it off just so that I can save this. I told you guys I'm a scrap saver, and so I'm going to save that, put it back over in my drawer so that I can use it for a future project. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my weeding tools out so that I can weed both of these designs. And so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull up this corner and then gently remove any of the vinyl that I don't want attached on my final project. Sometimes those little ends can be tricky, so having your sharp weeding tool is always a nice little handy thing to have on hand for those little bitty pieces, just to make sure that they come off the way that they're supposed to. And then I'm going to go ahead and just peel this extra little piece of vinyl off because I don't need that. And if your vinyl keeps rolling up like that, you can always put a little piece of tape on either side. You can use washi tape or regular tape to tape it down to your desk and just make it a lot easier for you as you're actually weeding. And now we're going to go and get all these little insides of the letters. I'm going to get my little ring to make it super simple so I don't have little scraps going everywhere. Oh, and I missed my eye. Okay, I'm gonna have to find it because I don't see it there. Okay, comment below and let me know if you've ever missed an eye and you've had to go back and track it down. I know I'm not alone in that one. Okay, let's see if we can dig that eye back up. Sure enough, right there. And just poke it out. Perfect. Perfect. Doesn't even look like it was ever gone. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my transfer tape on both of these. And my transfer tape is what helps me move my design from one place to another without it changing to like getting it out of order or having to like have it look funky or something like that. It's just an easy way to transfer it from one spot to another. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off this transfer tape. For this project, I like to use clear because then I can see exactly where it's going on the frame. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and cut these apart because I'm going to place them on the two separate frames. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these frames back over here. And then what I'm going to do is this one is going to kind of go across this bottom part. And this one is going to go right up here across the top part. I'm going to peel the backing off. And I'm going to line this up right here down on the bottom. Then I'm going to use my scraper and I'm just going to flatten it out here against the frame. way across. And then we're going to pull that transfer tape up. When you're removing transfer tape, you want to make sure that you fold it flat against itself. That helps to eliminate any pressure that might be pulling the vinyl with the transfer tape. So notice how I'm pulling it flat against itself. So that way it helps release from the vinyl really easily. And this one goes up a little bit, so I'm going to just press it in there. I'm actually going to take this glass out so then I can make sure it goes all the way on the glass. Just like this. There we go. Perfect. And I'm going to place it all right back in. Okay, so that's the first one. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and pull the backing off. And I'm going to place it at the top so that they're kind of paired together. I'm going to use my scraper to flatten it out and press it down all the way across. And I'm going to turn it sideways and peel that transfer tape up. Again, pulling the transfer tape flat on itself so that it doesn't remove the design. There we go. Okay, so now we've got our two frames that are going to go together. And now we need to add the little look up at the top. Now that we have the vinyl applied to our frames, it's time for us to add that finishing touch on there. Here's a reminder, this is what our pictures are going to look like. That's the look we're going for. So let's go ahead and let's put it all together. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure our hot glue gun is turned on and ready to go. We're going to make sure that that shower ring and that hook are totally dry now, and we're going to bring it all together and attach it all. Here we have our ring and our hook. Gosh, you would never even know that these were not originally black. Look at how good those look. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, I'm debating if I want to put the ring down here at the bottom. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part of the hook, and that part's going to go up here, and we're going to kind of hide it behind the hook itself. So see how it looks like it's hidden behind that. So that's what we're going to do first, is I'm just going to put a little bit, I'm going to make sure that this one's attached because it doesn't look like it's fully closed all the way. So I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue right there in the bottom part of that hook. And then I'm going to place this ring right inside. So when I'm looking at it straight on, you can't even see the little connection. I'm going to set that down right there so that it can dry. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to take this little hook, I'm going to put some hot glue right here on the inside part of the hook. And then I'm going to take the shower curtain ring and this little inside part, we're going to place that right in the middle there. So you can't even tell that there's a hook there when you're looking at it from the front. Now, once it's dry, we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach this hook right here to the top of the frame. So I'm going to go ahead and flip them around so that I can see them. And so I'm just going to put a little bit of a dab of hot glue right here in the middle on the frame. Not a whole bunch, just a little bit. And then I'm going to attach the shower curtain rod to it. Making sure that it's straight since it's already attached up here at the top. Hold it kind of in place until it dries. Move that one over to the side, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Put some hot glue right up here at the top. Then I'm going to take my ring. I'm going to place it right in there. Sandwich it right there onto that. And just make sure to let them dry completely. And then they turned out pretty good. I think I'm going to go ahead and add a picture as well into both of them. I think we did pretty good, huh? That's what we were trying to go for. Here's how they turned out. I think they turned out pretty cute. They look pretty similar to the original look. I think so. For only $3, you can't really go wrong. Now, when you're hanging the frame, just make sure that you remember that these are Dollar Tree frames, so you're probably gonna want to use this hook rather than this hook up here at the top, just for reinforcement purposes. But there are so many fun things that you can do with this frame idea. You can have them coordinate, you can do a whole wall of them, and you still have that industrial frame look without the industrial frame price. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and if you have any questions, please make sure to leave a comment below. I would be happy to connect with you. Also, make sure to head over to our free Facebook community and share what you're working on. We would love to connect with you more. Until next time, I encourage you, stop just collecting and start actually creating. And remember, there's no wrong way to craft. We'll see you back tomorrow. Bye.